That gives me x to the a minus b. So if you've noticed the trend, what we do with the coefficients is always different than what we do for the variables. Okay, if you have variables in the problem, in a division problem, you subtract them. So like in this first one, if I have x to the 5th divided by x to the 3rd, I get x to the 5 minus 3, which is what? X to the 2nd power. All right, think of it this way. All exponents do is tell you to multiply the base by itself. So if I expand x to the 5th, it's x times x times x times x times x. 5 x's multiplied together. If I expand x cubed, what do I get? I get x times x times x. The rule is that if you have the same thing on top and bottom of a fraction, what happens to it? It cancels out. So if I have x over x, so these x's cancel, x over x, those x's cancel, x over x. All I'm left with is the 2 x's, right? Instead of doing that every time, just subtract the exponent. So questions on that? All right, let's look at 3 real quick. I have m cubed divided by m cubed. Rule is that we do what with the exponents? Subtract them. So m to the 3 minus 3. What's 3 minus 3? 0. And anything to the 0 power ends up being 1. So my final answer for that one is 1. So that's because you have the same thing on top and bottom of the fraction, right? Cancels out to 1. All right, now let's say we have multiple things in the fraction. So let's look at 4 together. You only apply the rule to the ones with the same base. So like only look at the 8s. So what do we do with the exponents? Subtract them. So it will become a to the 6 minus 2, which will simplify in a little bit. And then with the b's, subtract those exponents. It will become b to the 4 minus 3. Simplify. What will be the new exponent on the A class? 4. What will be the new exponent on the B class? 1. 4 minus 3 is 1. Do I really need to write the 1? No. If it's not written, it's implied to be 1, but I'll just write it for fun. Questions on that? All right, then try 2, 5, and 6 real quick. Ramal, did you ever go? All right. So number 2, let's go over it. Hayden, what will the final answer be? What do I do with the exponent? Not in this one. So if they're in a fraction problem, a division problem, you subtract them. So 12 minus 2 would be 2. Good. All right, so that's the answer for 2. Let's see, Elise, what would be the answer for 5? P to the 3rd power, Q to the 4th power. Any disagreements there? All right, looks good. I didn't show my work like I did for the first 3 that we did together, but it's subtracting. 7 minus 4 is 3. 16 minus 12 is 4. That's all we're doing. So then, desire, what would be the answer to 6? 1, 1. All right. Disagreement on that one? All right. B to the first power instead, because what's the exponent implied to be if it's not written? 1. And then 2 minus 1 is 1. And then here. So that's a good question. Y to the 9th divided by y to the 9th, subtract them. What's 9 minus 9? Those are becoming 0. All right, but good on the X. These are really common mistakes. So another way to simplify this further, anything to the 0 power would be what? So then x to the 15, so this base is canceled, right? You have the same on top and bottom, it becomes 1. And then times. Questions on that? Question 0? I mean, I could write, I guess, x to the 15th times 1 times b, but what's anything times 1? The other number, right? In 3, we had to put a 1 because there was nothing left, like, if there was something else in that problem, I would have just written that other number, but yeah, anything to the 0 power is 1, so that's why the y kind of just goes away. Question? You could, but just know, like, if you were taking a test, it might have it more simplified than that. So, like, if you put to the power of 0 and to the power of 1, you're not going to get marked wrong in my eyes, but just know, like, they usually don't write the 0. Or they just make the 0 the whole thing. All right, questions on the first X. All right. So now examples with coefficients. What are coefficients? Not in front of the exponent, but in front of the variable. Okay, so like for example, in number 7, 6 and 2 would be my coefficient. In number 8, 14 and 7 would be my coefficient. And every single problem like these, the coefficients you treat normally. So if it's in a fraction form or a division problem, you just divide them. So like what's 6 divided by 3? 6 divided by 3, or sorry, did I say it wrong? Yeah. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then with the variables, you do that quotient rule, which says you do what with the exponent? Subtract them. So what will be the new exponent on the x for this one? 1. Because 4 minus 3 is 1. Make sense? Can I give you some to try? Or do you want to see one more in this section? Which one? Number 12. So this is like 36 doesn't divide evenly into 54, right? But you're going to want to simplify the fraction. If you're not good at simplifying fractions, that's okay. You can put it into Desmos and let it simplify the fraction for you. So I would put, so we're looking at 12, it's 36 over 54, gives me a decimal. If I want the simplified fraction, I press that button I showed you. Fraction, decimal, right there. So 2/3 will be the new fraction in 12, the new coefficient. What will be the exponent on the M? 6, because 9 minus 3 is 6. And what will be the new exponent on the end? 3. So you could write it like this, or if you want to keep it looking like a fraction, which you'll see later why someone might want to do that, then it might look like this. Both are equivalent. All right, try the 4 that we didn't do in this section. Before we leave today, I'll put those answers up, and then that can be like the last thing we do. All right, so try those 4, and then you can hang out till I put the key up. So I'll probably put the key up at like 12:03. So try those. The ones I asked you to do are in red. Any questions on them? Yes? Correct. If you did put a C in here, then it better be C to the 0 power. But anything to the 0 power is what? 1. And then anything times 1 is just that other number, right? So you don't need to write it. If you have the same thing on top and bottom of a fraction, it cancels out. All right, any other questions? Okay. 4/8. It's still a fraction, but you want it to be a simplified fraction. 4 goes into both numbers, right? It goes into itself once, and it goes into 8 twice. All right, any other questions? Okay, so we'll practice this one more tomorrow. If you have questions, make sure you ask.